Hello everybody. So I have set myself a little bit of a challenge today, and that is hopefully to try and demystify the world of smoothies for you just a little bit. Now, it's a question I get asked all the time, and I am really not surprised because there is so much conflicting information out there. No wonder everyone is baffled and really doesn't know what to do. So smoothies probably hit the headlines 2 to 3 years ago as the newest health craze, and no healthista, fashionista, Instagram fitness expert worth her salt was seen walking down the street without a green smoothie in hand from the trendiest new juice bar to sip on. What we then saw was a resultant backlash when everybody else threw up their hands and went, "Oh my goodness, smoothies are so bad for you. In actual fact, if you have a green smoothie every day for breakfast, you'll probably send yourself to an early grave." So how on earth do we know what to do? What's fact? What's fiction? We're just trying to be healthy, do the best we can. Help! So what I thought I would try and do is try and cut through all of that for you, give you my top tips on how you can make sure that the smoothies you make for yourself are always awesome and amazing. And if you do choose to go and buy a pre-made smoothie whilst you're out and about, how to make sure that's always going to do you a health service rather than a disservice. So if we start with smoothies in general, both the benefit and the bad side of smoothies is that you've blended everything together. Now, if you've done this well, all of a sudden you have this super easy, super convenient, and super quick way to get a massive amount of wonderful health-promoting nutrients into your daily diet. Brilliant! If you've got your balance slightly off though, you get the opposite. You have a super easy, super convenient, and super quick way to completely perturb your blood sugar and send your energy levels off on this roller coaster cycle throughout the day where you peak and then you come crashing back down again. You feel super lethargic, you then crave caffeine, another sugary snack to pick you back up again. You probably also feel more anxious, people find they feel more depressed and then they don't sleep well. And then also internally, what you get is when you have repeated blood sugar cycles, you sort of create the state of chronic low-grade inflammation and insulin resistance. And we know that these two things together are implicated in the onset of all chronic diseases, but particularly type 2 diabetes. And that's somewhere where we really don't want to end up, especially if in the first place we were trying to do something healthful. So what I'm going to talk about first a bit more is blood sugar. Now, our body has to look after itself. And so it sees sugar as a very good and very quick source of energy, but one that we need to keep within a very tight range to avoid damage to our cells. So if we have too much sugar in our blood, what our body does is it releases insulin. That then goes along, takes that sugar, carries it into the cells, and we store it. And then everything goes back to normal. Now, when we eat sugary things, our body can't tell, once it's got into the bloodstream, whether it was originally fruit natural sugar or if it was caster sugar. It doesn't really care. It has to respond in the same way. And this is where the problem with blending can lie. So if you go into a supermarket and you see one of those little 250ml bottles of smoothies, on the back of it, it will say that it's got a banana and 2 apples and a handful of grapes and a peach and a pineapple, all in that tiny little bottle. Now, if I gave you all those whole fruits in a big bowl and said I want you to eat them, I doubt you'd probably get a quarter of a way through without having to stop because you would be full and you'd feel satisfied. And that's because in their whole forms, you've got things like fibre, which slow down their energy release into your blood. When you've taken that away, though, by whizzing it all up together, think about how much of that natural sugar is very quickly going to dump itself into your bloodstream, and that is the problem. So what I say to people is if you are going to buy those supermarket smoothies, you need to add the balancing element back in. So when you have it, add in some protein, fibre and fat. Have it with a hard-boiled egg, maybe some carrots and hummus, maybe some oatcakes and nut butter, or just a big handful of mixed raw nuts and seeds. And that will just help to slow down that energy release into your bloodstream. What I probably want to talk about a little bit more is about those smoothies that you can make for yourself at home, because that is when you can get creative because you have autonomy over your ingredients. So what you'll see is that I have created a post called Science of a Smoothie, and that contains my ultimate smoothie equation. I promise you, if you follow those parameters, you will never go wrong. It is completely fail-safe and you will always be on the beneficial side of blending. So I'll run through it a little bit now for you quite quickly. What you always want to start off with is a nice big handful of something green and leafy. Spinach, kale, chard, something like a soft leaf cabbage, a sweetheart cabbage is so delicious and people just don't think to use it. You could also use something like watercress or rocket, but those are quite peppery, so I wouldn't tend to use them just by themselves, because if you do, you can end up with almost like a chili-esque heat at the back of your throat. And if you're having it for breakfast, it could be a little bit of a shock to the system at the start of the day. The next thing to do is to add in 2 to 3 portions of other vegetables. So think about things that you might not usually associate with having raw, or you wouldn't think about putting in a smoothie. Sweet potatoes, for example, the clue is in the name. They are deliciously sweet. Combine them with something like spinach and walnuts and cinnamon and a bit of nutmeg and ginger, and you have this incredible, almost pumpkin pie-esque sort of thing going on for breakfast. Delicious. Also, things like beetroot are so rich in antioxidants, it's almost a crime not to put them into your smoothie. Don't also forget about your roots and your herbs and your spices. So things like turmeric and ginger are hugely brilliant for you, amazingly anti-inflammatory, full of antioxidants, but don't forget about those soft leaf herbs as well. Parsley and coriander have potent effects within the body, so definitely get them in there too. Things like your citrus fruits can sort of add a bit of zest, so maybe peel a lime or a lemon or a bit of orange. Use grapefruit if you like it, but some people find it too bitter. Or if you're on any medications, just check, because there are some interactions with grapefruit. The final bit though is probably the most important, and that's that protein and that fat element. So make sure that you're adding in something either like a natural protein powder, and I've written a whole post on my personal favourites, so have a look at that. Maybe some avocado, some coconut oil or coconut butter, which is amazingly sweet. Flaxseed oil is a brilliant source of vegetarian omega-3, so definitely get that in there. Or go for nuts, seeds or nut butters. They are all fabulous. When it comes to the liquid component, I say about a cup per portion, or if you want to make more of an ice cream style smoothie, just decrease that down a little bit. You can use dairy milk if you drink dairy, or you can go for a nut milk if you like, or use something like coconut water, or occasionally I say to people, why not put in a little bit of normal water and some live yogurt, and then you get a very creamy consistency. Or, for amazing gut health love, go probiotic and use kefir or coconut kefir. Amazing! So I hope that has gone some way to sort of help you. I have written a whole summary post on this as well, so check it out on the blog. And if you have any other questions that I haven't touched on, please comment below or send me a direct message. Bye for now.